Welcome to Car Talk. This is not talking about cars, this is talking inside of a car. Today's topic is about, I'm not really sure what it's about. I haven't done these in a couple of weeks. There's been a lot going on in my life, and that's just kind of to unload some thoughts, things that have transpired in the last couple of weeks. So this past Friday, we moved from a house that we loved into a house that we really love. And that would not have been possible or necessary without the business having changed our lives the way it did. A dedicated space for the business. And if you've been following my content at all, you might not have. Who knows? Who cares? But if you haven't, it's a pretty nice house. And we moved into 2 garages, one for the business, one for the cars, a pool, a lake, about 7 acres. Nice little spread, something that is really nice. And it's been emotional roller coaster for me, kind of thinking about this stuff. I rarely think about what actually has happened in my life, because all it does is confuse me and throw me off and keep me off my game when I actually think about it. But once in a while I indulge myself and I think about it. The fact that in 2017 I made more than I ever thought I would in a year, things like that. The house that we moved into is a house that I never thought we would be able to afford in our lifetimes. The fact that the other day I had a real moment when, because now there's not one, but there's two guys working with me, both Ben and Josh. And in the second garage is really nice, because on nice days you can open the garage door up and get some fresh air in there, which is a real nice touch. And we were loading and unloading some stuff, and I kind of had a moment, because it's kind of a real legit workplace now. There's gonna be 3 computers there, there's the work table, 2 guys working, there's a TV I put up the other day. Like it feels not like a finished basement that turned into a workplace, but an actual workplace. And that there were 2 guys working there, and I kind of did take a moment and I looked and I thought, wow, this actually has happened. This actually has happened. And I don't think about these things too often, because I can remember the first time I spent $400 to order 1,000 earbuds from overseas. I can remember that day clearly, thinking, what have I got myself into? This is nuts. And how things like that have grown into what it is now, with earbuds in the 12 colors, hundreds of thousands in stock. The hard shell case, which were slow at first and really picked up steam. The headphones with mics, the earbuds with mics, the whole brand, which is my big goal for 2018, to transform TFT Supplies into a brand, which is going really well so far. The last couple weeks I've been crazy busy. I've been kind of just doing what was required out of the work last week and this week, versus pushing for future stuff, just because of packing, unpacking. There's been a lot of household stuff. There's been getting a new office in functional shape, which it is now. Monday was rough. It's getting a little better every day, and that's kind of the idea. And it's fully functional now. It's still finishing touches, but nothing crazy anymore. And it's just been a journey, and I haven't had any car talks in a couple weeks because of that going on. And even today I didn't know what the topic was. Normally I would say today's topic is this, and I don't know what the topic for this really is. Just kind of almost random ramblings of what's been piling up in my mind the last couple of weeks. One of them is potential. I've talked about it before, about a sliding scale, because every time you get a little bit better, every time you learn something new, every time you do something like that, you realize that, well, maybe you can go a little bit more. Because you might not have to double your capacity. You might not have to go by 30%, maybe just by 5%. And by going a little bit more, you realize that maybe your potential was greater than you thought it was in the past. That happened to me with what I earned last year, but especially as this house has really kind of sunk in, realizing that maybe things I never thought were possible are possible. And if I'm already there now at 35 in about a month, where does the future hold for me? Maybe I'm just getting started. I feel younger than I ever have. I know I got a little bit of gray hair to mark my age, but I feel as an entrepreneur, as a business person, younger than I ever have. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of what I'm actually capable of, which is overwhelming, exciting, in some weird way intimidating against myself. So that's been going through my head a lot. Also, motivation in the same way. When people think that you might not be able to do it, oh, you'll never have a house like that, you'll never have cars like that, you'll never have land like that, and they'll think, I'll never have that, I'll never live in a house like that. And I used to think that very same thing myself until I moved in. And that's important to remember, because with the internet, with social media, there are so many opportunities, more than I think ever before, to be able to make some sort of business around not only a practical business, but also around things you love to do. My hobby, my passion is finding things to buy and sell, making money. So that's all I do, is work on my hobby all day. So that works out well for me. Not everyone is in that same boat. But don't sell yourself short. Realize that if you're willing to figure out what you're good at, if you're willing to go all in on that, if you're willing to work hard, and yes, sometimes it requires sacrifices. You can't always keep everything in your life the same way. I've had to cut out various TV, various entertainment stuff, but as I've done that, I've become happier. I don't miss any of it, and I've been able to achieve so much more. And as you move along that journey, once you start to realize the cause and effect pattern of you cut something out, you work a little more, you go a little more with what your gut says, with what you're interested in, with what you're passionate about, then you realize, oh, I started making more money. I started having more success in my business. It's an easy pattern to identify, which is why I've cut out almost all things outside of my family, my business, and a couple guilty pleasures. Not guilty pleasure, but I go on the treadmill every morning, which helps me out. But during that, I watch The Sopranos or whatever various streaming thing. I used to watch a lot of sci-fi stuff, all the Star Trek series, but I've been working through Sopranos on HBO Go. But as you cut things out, you're also able to achieve more. I've realized and come to the realization a lot about these things. And I also wonder sometimes, as I look at our house now and the houses of others, I also get very what's the right phrase? Self-reflective, and think, what is it that I have or don't have that's different from others that allows me to live like this? I don't know what that is necessarily. I think in a lot of ways, I'm willing to do what other people aren't. I think I have a certain set of talents, and I'm also willing to go on those talents. People say, and what is Andy Frisella said, some statistic that about 8% of people in our country are entrepreneurs. That's 8 out of 100, 4 out of 50. So you can kind of do the math, a little less than 1 out of 10. And maybe that's why you got to be able to handle risk. You have to be able to handle unknowns. Some people would lose their minds. They didn't have an exact steady paycheck every week, every 2 weeks kind of thing. And that's just fine. You got to be who you are. I would never push someone into this life if they're not willing to realize the realities of it. But if you are the kind of person that's able to handle some risk, able to go in with your strengths, willing and able to work hard, maybe cut out some other distractions out of your life, you're going to be amazed at what you're able to accomplish. And maybe you can live a life like this. Maybe you can live in a big house with 2 garages and a pool and acres and trees and all of these things. Maybe you can have this stuff if you're willing to do that. Maybe that's not what you want. Maybe, let's be honest, not everyone is capable of the same things. Like if someone said, oh, if you practice basketball a lot, you'll play like LeBron James. That's not true either. Because I could practice all day, I'll never play like these guys. And that's just fine. It's not who I am. It's not what I'm good at. But you can oftentimes move the needle a little bit if you're actually willing to do the hard work and sacrifice and commit to something. So I don't know what today's topic is. I don't know what today's topic was. I don't know any of this stuff. I was just unloading some various thoughts off my mind, thinking about what is going on in my life, the things that have transpired the last couple of weeks as we packed up our old house, moved to a new house, twice the square footage of our old one, 14 times the land, infinitely times the number of pools and lakes, and things like that, and just a lot to process, a lot to take in. So I don't know what I'm going to title this one. I guess that's going to as it maybe sinks in a little bit, I might think back to what to actually title this one as it goes up on all the channels. But thanks everybody for listening, for watching on the podcast and all this. I've been quiet for a while. People have reached out and thought, where's this guy been? Haven't heard from him in a while. That's why. Been moving, been hectic, and I'm just now starting to get back into the normal groove of work stuff, as it's been an insane couple of weeks. Car Talk, Tyler Douthit.